everything I do at Bodhi Yoga. When you walk in the door, the first thing I'll tell anyone coming in for just a basic yoga class is you are here for your own practice. I am simply the guide. This is not an academic experience. Influencers, all sorts of YouTubers, all the information, like everybody's talking, like it's some sort of academic experience. And learning from the academic model is listening to what someone else tells you and doing what they say and getting this guaranteed result. I teach through Bodhi Yoga what we call an experiential learning model. So you learn what it means for you in your own body. And so in our yoga teacher training, which is like a foundational life training, you don't have to want to be a yoga teacher to take it or anything. We'll talk about how we share it with others. But ultimately it's this experience, this immersion that's there to help you sort of up level, upgrade your ability to respond in your life in the most functional way possible. And so back in the Shakti Spiritist training in 2004, one of the things I said was, I can recognize dysfunction. I can work in my dysfunction, but I can't stay there. So if you need to stay in the dysfunctional defaults, I can't stay there with you, but I can work on myself and I can try to respond on a more functional level when my triggers come up in life in general, like life as a trigger. It's meant that way. It's supposed to be that way. But I can spend my life developing tools and techniques for helping humans function at a higher level. And lower doesn't necessarily mean bad, higher doesn't necessarily mean good. I'm using hierarchical language because it's something that we understand. But ultimately, when we dive into any training you do with me at all, from this class to something bigger, I'm going to keep bringing you back to your experience. And so in the yoga teacher training, invariably, day one through our last day where we gather in this immersive experience, 3 times a year I do it. Someone who's in the training will ask me to look at their pose. Oh, am I doing this right? Am I seated right? Is this right? Is this the full pose? Is this the right? And the yoga word for asana is actually a Sanskrit word which means a state of being steady and joyful. And so I might look at them and then I'll just say, are you feeling steady joy? And if the answer is no, then we start to fine tune that experiential model to where they can find steady joy within themselves. Okay? Okay, so as we look at this experience of are you feeling steady joy? If I'm not necessarily feeling steady joy, then I have little fine-tuning experiential, like I might shift my breath, I might plant through the feet, I might spread the feet like I'm trying to widen the ground to be able to sustain myself. And then when they experience that, they'll say, oh my heavens, I just realized I've never been able to do this pose. I had no idea I wasn't even able to do it. I just knew it didn't feel comfortable and I hated it. And so this conversation about the way we project things onto our reality is not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. And really the only space between any of that and living from a more functional way while not shutting down or spiritually bypassing or any other stuff is really our awareness. Just say, like at 84, that's what the splits look like.
Well, yeah, I can't get that.
I think it's beautiful.
Awesome.
Awesome.